Hello everybody, I just got out of Atomic Blonde yesterday. No fancy anything, it's just Atomic Blonde. It's one of the few tickets I have. Which, by the way, in case you were wondering, yeah, I keep them all. I end up putting them in my DVD cases and Blu-ray cases as I go, so I've got some sorting to do. But I have a new hat. Hey look, I have business cards. Hey, it's real, it's a legit thing. Yeah, I finally got that, and there's cool stuff going on. More on that later, but first, Atomic Blonde. Yes. Atomic Blonde is based on a graphic novel called The Coldest City. It is actually about 8 years old, I think. May 2012, so 5 years old. This was reprinted, obviously, for the movie, and it's got the movie stuff all over it. When I saw the trailer, I went, I gotta see this. It's like a John Wick thing. Charlize Theron is great. I like her in Italian Job. She's good in Furious 7, or Fate of the Furious, even though her hairstyle is ridiculously bad. But I do like that. I like the John Wick stuff. I like David Leitch, who... He's co-director of John Wick, but not really. Like, it's two guys who directed it, but one got credited, like the Coens were. He did this instead of John Wick 2. The other guy did John Wick 2, so they've kind of branched off, and they're both doing their thing. I wanted to read this when I saw it in Previews. Previews is a monthly comic book magazine which lets you know about upcoming stuff. This was in there for May, saying on sale May 10th. That same month. Normally it's not that quick, so I immediately put an order in, and there we go. So, Atomic Blonde, The Coldest City, it's by Anthony Johnson and Sam Hart. I put a review up on Goodreads of this. I really like it. The art is a bit to be desired, admittedly. And my good friend Shauna, who you've seen in the epic journey of Fate of the Furious, Fast and the Furious, all that stuff, she summed this up well. There's times when there's 4 characters and you can't tell who's who. You lose track of what's what. And in a 70s, 80s type espionage thriller, that's important. So that's unfortunate. The movie, though, is John Wick, and it's crazy. It is everything it goes out to be, with the intense visuals, embracing '89 Berlin. Theron is amazing. John Goodman's the CIA agent. He's great. Toby Jones is the British operative, and C is the other. I can't remember the actor, but he's great. It's probably right here. No, he's the next one who would be on there, but James McAvoy actually is the Berlin contact agent as well. They're all great. They're all really goddamn good. It's incredible. The movie adapts this about halfway. There's a part in a riot where something happens suddenly. In the movie, you see some of the setup happening, and I'm like, why are they doing that? Up until that point, it's kind of beat for beat the story here. Except they changed the French guy to a girl. More on that in a second. From there, it deviates huge. The basic story is a British agent has to go get the body of another agent because he was getting this list. It's, if you remember in comics, the identity disc. This kind of thing where it's got all the information on all the operatives and it'll blow everything open. And if you sell the highest bidder, it compromises everybody. This is before the Berlin Wall falls. It's momentarily happening. So the Soviets want it, the Americans want it, the Brits want it. Of course, the French. They all do. So she has to go and get it, because he had the list. And there's a contact that has it, so she has to go and get that. And it's last minute, but she's good, so let's see how she can do. That's all book story, that's all movie story. And then things go south. Of course they do. And that's where the John Wick action comes in. And that's where the thing deviates. In this, she's just kind of unassuming, very simple, basic, good, decent with a gun. Like, she can get things done, very clever. In the movie, it's Bond, it's Bourne, it's blonde. By the way, she's not blonde in the book. She's not. So that must be a Charlize thing. But it works. Atomic Blonde is a play on Atomic Bomb. Also, Blondie, the song, the album Atomic. We've got to have connections there. So, this whole thing is incredibly done in the John Wick style. Now, I loved it. I don't know if I like it more than John Wick. I think I like that world a little bit more. There's a bit more fun and simplicity in it. This one is a little more... a little more out there and not as refined, which is a bit troublesome. My other main complaint is with Charlize Theron's fight scenes. It's a weird thing. Notice it in the trailer, and no one else has commented on it, so it's probably just me. But when she's fighting someone, and it's especially in this one scene when they're in a theater, and she encounters Daniel Bernhardt, who was in Bloodsport 2, 3, and 4, the Van Damme-alike. He's got this weird beard. He was in John Wick briefly, too. She encounters him and starts to fight him, and he's kind of there. And rears back before the punch. And everything is telegraphed in that way. Like, it's almost like position 1, throw. Position 2, go. Like, everything has this weird kind of pause set up. Nothing flows. And I mean, I'm not the one doing incredible action sequences, because despite that, it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's ridiculously good. The stairway scene that everyone's going on and on and on and on about, it's not one shot, by the way. It's many. My student film did a one shot thing around. When stuff blurs or moves, that's where the cuts are. There's times when people get thrown in front of the camera and you see something nice and clear, well, that's where the cut was. Unless you do that kind of stuff, you wouldn't really know, but it looks a bit off too. But it's clever because it goes from outside the street into a hallway, up an elevator, fighting 3 guys down 2 sets of stairs, fighting 2 more guys into an apartment. Bernhardt's guy shows up at this point. They're fighting back and forth in 3 rooms of an apartment, getting thrown through stuff, with some gunfighting in between, go downstairs out into an alley, get into a car, and have a car chase with the camera going like this, probably on the roof of the car. Back and forth, and the camera never, like, if you think about it, never cuts. Until, like, the 4th car gets hit behind them, and then the camera cuts to outside the car showing that thing flip. What they're doing is it's one shot. It isn't. Because they're pausing to set up the breakables, or move this, or set up that, or change the blood effect. Because it starts with her fine, and the end of it, she's just a mess. And so is everybody else. It's amazing. It's awesome. They say it's worth the price of admission alone. I agree. It's a good 20 minutes of insane. It felt like 20 minutes. Probably isn't even that, but it's good. It's also not in the book. Because that's where the movie deviates. That's right after the riot part I mentioned. Things go south there. They go south in the book, but very differently, and then things happen very differently. But the idea of where it goes is still there from the book. And of course, I'm not saying stuff because it'll be spoilers. But if you've read the book, you'll be like, yeah, okay, well that was awesome! And everything that's changed works, except for the French girl. And that's what I wanted to talk about too. I don't like Sofia Boutella. I didn't like her in Kingsman even that much. Her character was fun. I don't care for her. I don't like her. And that's not nothing personal. I just don't think she's a good actor. I just don't. I don't buy it. Kingsman's probably her best, to be fair. But in Mummy, no, she doesn't have the same kind of presence, especially opposite an Atomic Blonde. Like let's use the pun here. What they did was they changed the French guy into a woman for the movie. And they even said, we want to do something different with the lesbian overtones. But not even that. It's just, as a spy, she'll do anything, including a woman. So they're not saying that the character Lorraine Broughton is gay. They're just saying she'll do anything. And that's not a negative either. It's just, hey, I need information, let's go. Okay, fair, fine. But what it kind of did was made it all samey, in that they wanted to make, Theron especially, she's a producer, they wanted to make an action movie with a female lead, and this is capitalizing on Wonder Woman, but hey, there's my shirt. The 5-year journey of this movie, they've been wanting to make it for a long time, and they want to make it different and have it simply be a woman doing it, and yet embracing being a woman, very much like the Agent Carter series, in that, yes, this woman can do everything a man can do, but also as a woman, and embracing it. It's not just like a woman being like a guy, it's a woman being a woman equivalent to a guy. This is all good. This is amazing. This is great. This is awesome. The movie nails it. However, when she's with Boutella's character, Delphine, which I forget what the guy's name is. I'm kind of curious to see if I can find it. What ends up happening... Actually, no, there is a stairway scene. There's a stairway scene otherwise, but it's like... It's 2 pages, and he gets thrown over and dies. What ends up happening... Wow, that's the inspiration for that? That's kind of cool. It actually is the same sequence. I forgot about that. What ends up happening, though, with Delphine is she's shorter than Theron, and when they're in bed together, it's like... Theron's scared is laying there, and Delphine's curled up against her, and it's very much just looks like the guy got the girl, except the guy is also a girl. It didn't seem any different than any other male action movie. And it almost betrayed itself in that way. Like, look, a woman can do this too. And be a woman. It's like, yeah, but it seemed odd. It seemed a bit off. Not in a negative way, don't get me wrong. It seemed like we're making this, look, this is, the women can do it. The women can be the man too. Okay, but why do they have to be the man? Why can't they just be the woman? And, right? You get what I'm saying. Anyway. Absolutely recommend it. 100%. It's really great. The soundtrack is weird. It isn't as great as I thought it would be when I saw Tyler Bates did the music, because I love his stuff. And it's got that pumping, driving type stuff he does, but it's also a lot of 80s music of the era remixed today as well. It's really cool. What they did, and this again is getting into spoiler territory, which so I'm not going to actually say anything more than this, but they changed things so much that they can go with a sequel. Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's understandable in today's day and age. There's simple things like there's a whole plot point in here that doesn't happen in the movie. The movie sets up a goal, and that pays off. In here, it's a ruse. Okay, well that's different. That may not have worked. There's also something about a thing, like a specific character. There's a double agent happening in both, called Satchel. It's a double agent ruining stuff for both sides. Where that goes here and where it goes in the movie are completely different things. Even though it still is the same, and if you read this, you can see him setting it up like, oh, so smart on that. But the outcome is very different. So there's that too. I love it though. It's really great. I'm glad I read this beforehand because it was easy to keep track of stuff. So I do recommend reading that as well if you can. Also, I'm in the middle of reading the prequel, Cold as Winter. This came out just in December and they reprinted it with the movie stuff because the movie's up. Takes place 8 years beforehand and deals with Percival, who is James McAvoy's character. It's his stuff here when it starts up. The artwork, as you'll be able to see here in a second, is much, much better. It looks like pictures of people that were drawn into this. However, there's still a scene in the bathroom where I got confused and there's 3 characters and I couldn't tell who's who. So, it happens, but what I hope is that they do make a sequel, and if they do it with Percival, that's awesome, but if they adapt this into the sequel for Theron, that would be great too, because that's the thing that they did with the Langdon books, where Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons were filmed out of order compared to what the actual stories were, and so they ended up flipping that for the movies. So they could do something like that with this, I think. We could see Atomic Blonde, The Coldest Winter, or something like that. So I hope so. It did only make $18 million out of its $20 million projections, but only cost $30. It's fine. So yeah, do check it out. It is a fun one. GuiltyPleasureCinema.com is where all my stuff is. Cyclops Scott on YouTube. I'll try that again. YouTube.com/Cyclops Scott. That's me. It is being updated. Yeah, it's Guilty PC site's out of date. I know. But there is more coming. I am doing stuff with ThunderCon this year, which is fun. It's a local convention. I'll be shooting stuff there. I've shot stuff for Summit, the board game. That is with my new good friend Connor McGooey of InsideUpGames.com. There's stuff for that coming up. A lot of activity, lots of fun stuff. And the GPC 5th anniversary script is pretty much done, as are 5 lead-in movies. So activity's happening. Yeah, it's going good. So it's a matter of time. It's a matter of being patient, and that was my biggest problem before. So there you go. Go see Atomic Blonde. Read the graphic novels. They're both good. Well, I'm partway through the other one, but it is good. And yeah, check out all the fun stuff. Check out Zion Mainframe Gaming. Check out Reckless Eating. Check out Jabba Radio. Go on the Prediction League. Have fun with all that good stuff. I'll see you next time.